What's up, everybody? It's JD DeServio from Black Label Society and Cycle of Pain, here on behalf of Hartke. Going to check out this Kickback in a little bit. It's like 500 watts of power, so I think it's going to be pretty cool for a little guy, man, like me. Been part of the Sampson family now for like 10 years. When I came in, originally just for the for the wireless stuff, and didn't even realize that they were affiliated with Hartke. And so right away they asked me about the amps and stuff, and then I told them, what I liked about them, what I didn't, and we got down to work, and they designed the high drive stuff, which is really, really great stuff too. And so I'm psyched. I think this is going to be just as good as the other stuff. I started playing bass like when I was in 6th grade. I actually got a bass for real. That was the first time we got a bass. In 5th grade, we just were dressing up like Kiss and using guitars with no strings on them and smashing them and spitting blood, not blood really, but food dye, because I'm Gene Simmons, That's why I play bass, because of him. It's his fault that, I'm here. And I was into horror movies as a kid, and I loved music, and it was just a perfect combination, So when I saw the picture of them, I was like, that's immediately what I wanted to be. Didn't turn out to be. I mean, I'm not, 6 whatever and, and a 7-inch tongue, but, it's getting there. But, I really started playing because of Kiss, and then as I got older, my ear developed more. Iron Maiden came out. It was like 1980, and Steve Harris was, a huge influence on me growing up, and Geezer Butler and bands in that, in that genre. And when I heard like Phantom of the Opera from Iron Maiden off that first record, it just blew my mind so much, because Steve actually did the bass solo in the middle. And it really got my attention, and it just made me want to practice from there on in. So, Steve, them 2 first Iron Maiden records for me are still great workouts, and you kids nowadays should check that out, Especially bass players coming up. Steve is, a legend. And I was playing with a pick when I first started, and I found out that Steve played with his fingers, so that was it for me. I immediately abandoned the pick, started playing with my fingers, and tried to figure out, the Maiden stuff, back then. And really helped me in my development so much as a kid, man. I mean, really did. And my techniques, because for instance, like in Phantom of the Opera, Steve, he rides this one figure. Like, check this out. Cool, and then and that really built up my finger, dexterity and just longevity. I was able to go for a long time. Kind of like Viagra, but, in your fingers. And then from there on, I like I said, my ears started to develop, and just, got into more music, more great bass players. Like I said, I was into Steve Harris and Geddy Lee and Geezer Butler already, and then somebody like turned me on to Jaco Pastorius when I was about 15. And I really didn't grasp it yet, you know what I mean? I was still a kid, I really didn't understand jazz at all, or the harmonies that he was throwing at us, which is another world. So, but then within a couple of years, I really did start to develop more into that ear, you know what I mean? I liked Al Di Meola growing up too, because he was more diatonic, so I could kind of understand him a little bit more than like a jazzer, you know what I mean? Like Jaco or even Jeff Berlin. And I dug Stanley Clarke, at that period too. So it was a cool time for me, when I was like about 16 till I went to Berkeley, And then once I got there, then it was just full on, fusion, funk, all kinds of music that I hadn't heard before. So I was pretty psyched after that, man. Yeah. Also, when I turned 13, it was in 1980, and I was into Iron Maiden. They came out, and also the first Ozzy record came out with Randy Rhoads on it. And being a bass player, he influenced me more than bass players, and he's a guitar player, because I loved his melodic sense and everything he played. It was just so beautiful. So I would like try to get some of his leads down on my bass and stuff, and was really, really important. And then it turns out, in the big scheme of things, he really impacted my life hugely, because obviously, then Zach went on to play with Ozzy years, after Jake, after Randy, but it all a trickle-down effect, and it all kind of came from Randy Rhoads, which is, our hero, he's Saint Rhoads, So that was a huge part of my development too, even listening to the guitar players. And I tell all bass players, to check out other musicians, don't just listen to just bass players, because you might get a cool idea from a piano player or from a sax player or something. When I went to Berkeley, I shed with all kinds of people, violin players, sax, piano, like I said, a lot of drummers, you know, and just opens up your mind to different things, and you don't get locked into one thing and get stagnant, you know. That's what happens with a lot of people. They get bored with themselves because there's not enough stimulation around them, you know. So me, I'm a boring ass person, so I need stimulation, you know, because I need other people to interject. I'm only kidding, I'm really not that boring. But anyway, it's just cool to open up your ears and your mind to other things, and that's just only gonna make you better. And in this day and age, you really need as much information as you can get on the instrument, in the studio, whatever it may be. You're gonna find that you're gonna be able to work more, you know, and that's really important for us as working musicians, you know. And here today I'm using my own JD signature model bass from Schecter. This is a 5-string model. I'm not sure these are out on, you know, for sale yet, but the 4 strings are. And I love my Schecters. We came up with the design. It's neck through. You know, you get the back loading or top loading, whatever you want. I like it through the back. It gets more sustain and stuff. You know, HZ pickups, which are passive, but an active circuit board. I like that combination. Works out nice for me. A nice wide neck, kind of like a Fender P bass, but the radius is flatter around the back, easier to play. Nice on your hand. And I've been playing these basses now for like 10 years, man. You know, or 9. They came out with my own model. Before that, I was using Schecter for a year. And then live, like I said earlier, I've been using the Hartke stuff for a long time. And what I do is I'll split my sound. I'll use like 2 Hartke rigs and throw like all my effects on one side with a splitter pedal. So when I throw on distortion, only one side changes and the other side stays clean for ultimate punch. Because when you're playing bass and you put distortion on, a lot of times all the low end sucks away and the presence. So I dig that idea, and I recommend that highly, man. Just take 2, even like these little guys, I'm sure they'd be great, and then split it with a splitter. Put your distorted or whatever effects you have in one side, and then the clean side stays true the whole time, and it works for really cool sounds, man. And it keeps the fullness of the bass, because we are bass players, you know, and we got to keep the bottom, you know. So that's what I like to do, that, man. So after I left Berkeley, I've pretty much been on tour the rest of my life, so it's been awesome. And like I said, I love the Hartke stuff. I've been using it for forever now, and live it just cuts through, especially playing in like hard rock situations. You know, the distorted guitar is so loud that the bass needs to get through there, and Hartke, you know, definitely, you know, supplied that for me. So I'm totally happy to use the stuff live. And we got a lot more touring coming up, and I'll be using it, you know, forever. It's just good stuff. And I'm actually going to be recording a record now, Black Label, coming up in the next 2 weeks, and I'm sure I'll be using some Hartke head. I'm not sure which one yet, because they have a couple new ones coming out, so I'm going to check them all out today, and I'll let you know, in 2 weeks when I do the record. Okay.